So today I'm going to start learning C++. I think I'm going to put 2 hours here. Hopefully, I don't know about the site. I don't know how it works, but hopefully I can do it. C++ is a programming language created by Bjorn Strongstrup. Not sure if I'm reading this correctly, but okay. And his team at Bell Laboratories in '79. 40 years later, it's one of the most widely used languages in the world. You can find C++ applications everywhere, from the bottom of the oceans to the surface of Mars. As the name implies, C++ was derived from the C language. Bjorn's goal was to add object-oriented programming into C, a language well respected for its portability and low-level functionality. So I learned C++. Among many other things, it is fast and flexible, it's well supported, forces you to think in new creative ways. This lesson will start learning some basic concepts when you write your very first C++ program. Don't worry if some words don't make much sense right now, you'll learn about them in a bit. Hello world. Hopefully it's kind of like the free code camp stuff. I think it is. Take a look at the hello.cpp file in the code editor that is placed in the middle of the screen. It's a C++ program. In our code editor, the file name is displayed at the top. Yeah, so I think what this does is say hello world. C++ programs are stored in files which usually have the file extension .cpp, which simply stands for C++. The code inside our C++ file is a classic first step on your programmer's take. They greet the world through the terminal. Terminal is the black panel on the right. It should be blank right now. The code in the text editor will print text out onto the terminal. More specifically, it will print the phrase hello world. Before I explain what that mumbo jumbo is, let's run the program to see what happens. So next lesson. So people say C++ is way harder than Python. So imagine that it will be a lot more confusing. Output high five, you just got your first program to run. C++, like most programming languages, runs by line from top to bottom. Here's the structure of a C++ program. Include libraries. The main function. I'm not sure if this has to be with the hashtag or not. Main function, beginning of function, end of function. Between the curly braces is what we're going to focus on for now. Center count is the character output string. It is pronounced cout. This sign is an operator that comes right after it. Hello world is what's being outputted here. You need double quotes around text. Then run this guy real quick. I hate these bots. The N is a special character that indicates a new line. Is a punctuation that tells the computer that We are at the end of the statement. It is similar to a period in a sentence. Instructions, let's write the whole standard call. So statement from scratch, set the curly braces, type the following, press run. So I'm not sure if this is necessary. Let me do this and see if it runs. So apparently in C++ you need to put the thing at the end. Or maybe not, maybe oh, the spaces. And let me try again like this. Let's try like this. Oh, so it's not count, it's cout. Red count for some reason. Yeah, so I think you need to put the thing at the end. Sure. Next. Oh, I can't go next. Yeah. Do I have to pay for this? Probably. There's only one A in Codecademy. Oh, Codecademy. Maybe that's why it's not letting me. Hopefully. Yeah, nice. I hope they don't stop in the middle, so. Because that's what the other ones do. They give you a couple of free ones, then they stop in the middle to ask for to pay for the access to the other lessons. And still thinking about it, whether or not I will pay for any of the services. But I think if I can't do it like this, I'm gonna watch videos and then try to follow the tutorials. Pattern, and then I might just try to build this stuff on the library, the artificial intelligence library on my own. I think I will start trying with, I'll start doing with the TensorFlow lower level API, because there's some stuff in the book that it talks about how to build it. Uses Python, not C++, but I think it's gonna be easier to find documentation on how to do that using the API. And then once I manage to make that happen, then I can start thinking about ways to break down and to create my own functions from the tensor, create my own tensors to build the thing. Which I really don't understand very well yet. What's the difference between a list and a tensor? I think the only difference is the operations that are embedded in the library. So I have to see that. Learn how to output a line of text with the following code. Standard code. It will output this. You can also output multiple lines by adding more and count statements. But now let's use what we learned so far to complete a coding challenge. Instructions. Instead of displaying those two lines in the output, edit the code so that we output the following pattern in the terminal. Exactly how it is. Remember to use the hint if you need help. So I think I need to do this 3 times, 4 times. And I'm not sure if I need to put the space here. Yeah, I'm not sure how to align this. That's the problem. It didn't talk about any alignment. Seven, eight. Oh, let's see if this passes the thing. What? Oh, that's interesting. I was just putting them together and I'm not using the end line. I think it's like this. Let's run now and see what happens. Yeah, so now I just have to align them, but they didn't say anything about aligning. Instead of displaying these shoe lines in the output, the checkpoint requires some trial or things to remember. So you just have to do the lines here until it gets to the same. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Thought maybe there that I needed to do something else. Review who you have written a few C++ programs. Lesson I have learned C++ is a general purpose coding language. C++ runs line by line, from top to bottom, standard cout. So you output the terminal to the terminal. Before we move on, let's write a letter to your future self. In letter.cpp, let's add the following. Goes for yourself, name and date, press run, to make the letter. Yes, this letter will be returned when you complete the course. So let's do this. So I need goes for yourself. Learn C++ and eventually build my own artificial intelligence library using C++. Name and date. Name. Tensor. Oh, I actually don't need this. I can do the same thing. Date. What date is today? 7th of December 2021. Nice. So this programming. Oh, I didn't put the name here. Whatever. Next. How many days do you want to learn each week? C++ program has very specific structure in terms of how the code is written. Let's take a closer look at the hello world program line by line. I think I'm just gonna start next lesson. Code save, compile, execute. C++ is a compile language. That means that to get the C++ program to run, must first translate it from a human readable form to something a machine can understand. The translation is done by a program called a compiler. When you program in C++, you mainly go through 4 phases during development. Code, writing the program, saving the program, compile via the terminal, executing via the terminal, and repeat. Debug the errors if needed. Note, up until now, we've been doing the magic for you. Steps 2, 3, and 4 were all done by simply pressing the run button. Instructions, let's try compiling and executing using the terminal. Click next to continue. Compile and execute. Compile. Computer can only understand machine code. Compiler can translate the C++ programs that we write into machine code. You call on the compiler by using the terminal, which is the black panel to the right of the code editor that contains a $sign. To compile a file, you need to type G++ followed by the file name in the terminal and press enter. The compiler will then translate the C++ program hello.cpp and create a machine code file called a.out. To execute the new machine code file, all you need to do is type dot / and the machine code file name in the terminal and press enter. In this case, our compiled file name is a.out. When it all together, we end up with the following. The executable file will then be loaded to computer memory, and the computer's CPU, central processing unit, executes the program one instruction at a time. So it's just G++ hello.cpp and then / out. I think that's all you should do. Yeah. I think you can close this stuff. Compile and execute. Naming executables. Sometimes when we compile, we should give the output executable file a specific name. To do so, the compile command is slightly different. So you need to write G++ and the file name in the terminal. After that, there should be -o and then the name that you want to give to the executable file. The compiler will then translate the C++ program hello.cpp and create a machine code file called hello. To execute the new machine code file, all you need to do is type the same command before and the machine code file name in the terminal. So G++ hello.cpp /o hello. And then I forgot. I think it was just a command. Yeah. Just like this. But the name of the file is different. Yeah. So next. Comments. Programming is often highly collaborative. In addition, our own code can quickly become difficult to understand when we return to it, sometimes only a few hours later. For these reasons, it's often useful to leave notes in our code for ourselves or other developers. As we write C++ program, we can write comments in the code that the compiler will ignore as our program runs. These comments exist just for human readers. Comments can explain what the code is doing, leave instructions for developers using the code, or add any other useful annotations. There are 2 types of code comments in C++. Single line comment will comment out a single line and is denoted with /. Seeing it. You can also use a single line comment after a line of code. A multi-line comment will comment out multiple lines. So it's pretty similar to the other things, other programming languages. Let's practice adding a comment, add a new line above, include IO system. So the hashtag is necessary to, it's not a comment. A single line comment that says Harry Potter. Stuck, got a hint. Well, I did that. What about now? Compile and execute. Spell.cpp. Ah, you have to use the terminal. Fuck, I'm already forgetting how to do this. I think I don't remember really well. I remember this part, but the last part, but I'm not sure if the first part is correct. So maybe it's like this. What the fuck, man? How was the command? I just learned it and I forgot. Oh, plus GG. No, GG plus, I think. G plus plus spell. I think it was like this. There's so much stuff in my mind that it's hard to concentrate. I think it's nice. Okay, got it. Congratulations, in this lesson I have learned compilation and execution using the terminal. G++, hello.csp, hello. Single line comments can be created using /less multiplied using this. If you're still feeling iffy about using the terminal, take a look at the learn the command line lesson. Yeah, so obviously you need to pay. Let's see how much it costs. So 16 a month billed and yearly. $16 a month. How much is that? How much 200? 186. No, 192. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's worth it. You can probably just learn for free. Team support. Yeah, but I imagine once I get to the advanced stuff, it's gonna be only for pro members. Then I'll have to think about that. Let's keep doing it right now. Congratulations, in this lesson I've learned compilation and execution. You're still with me. So there's nothing to do in this last one, I think. What next? God damn, man. You really push this stuff hard. Compile and execute. Run your Hello World C++ program locally using the terminal command prompt or Visual Studio Code. Process. C++ is a compiled language. That means that to get a program to run, you must first translate it from the readable form, something called a machine comp. Okay, I think I already learned all the stuff. Compile. The compiler translates C++, execute. Running Hello World locally. On the Mac, it's called the terminal. On Windows, it's called the command prompt. Here's the tutorials. So maybe I can do this here. But it didn't teach me how to create the file. That's the issue. And how I'm gonna run the file if it doesn't exist. And I can't create it from the command line, I think. So I think I'll just gonna skip that. So I don't have to create it manually and then run it. It's a waste of time. Reduction to variables. The hello world program simply writes to the screen. Does not read anything, calculate anything, or allow for user input. That's no fun. Real programs tend to produce results based on some input that the user of the program gives, rather than just outputting the same thing every time. To read something from the keyboard, you first need somewhere in the computer's memory to store data. That is where variables come in. Oh, the other thing is that I'm just thinking about is that if I pay for this, I probably won't be able to show it on stream, so it doesn't even matter anyway. So I need to find something that is free. I have free resources to learn. Read something from the keyboard, we first need somewhere in the computer's memory to store data. This is where variables come in. Variable is simply a name that represents a particular piece of your computer's memory that has been set aside for you to store, retrieve, and use data. This lesson will learn about some of the basic data types. Int, integer number, double, floating point numbers, char, individual characters, string, a sequence of strings, bool, true, false values. Every variable has a type, which represents the kind of information you can store inside of it. It tells your compiler how much memory to set aside for the variable, and it defines what you can do with the variable. So it's pretty much like the other languages. Declare a variable. Every variable in C++ must be declared before it can be used. Suppose we are building a game and we want to keep track of a player's score that goes from 0 to 10. We need a variable. Before we can use a variable, we must declare or create it. To declare a variable, we need to provide two things: a type for the variable, a name for the variable. To declare an integer variable called score, we need to write int score. The int is the type of the variable, the score is the name of the variable. This is how we understand sentiment. In C++, variable names consist only of upper lowercase letters, digits and underscores. Note C++ is known as strongly typed language. If you try to give an integer value a decimal number, you are going to get unexpected results Results, warnings, or errors. File declare an int variable name year. Now I'm not sure if I'm supposed to run it here. Let's run it here for practice. Variable.cpp show variable. Then I need to do this. Nice. Not sure if that's common practice to run files on the terminal. Maybe it is. Initialize a variable. After we declare a variable, we can give it a value. Suppose that we have declared an int variable called score. To set it to 0, we can simply write score equals 0. Score is the name of the variable, the equal indicates assignment, the 0, okay. Plus a single equal sign does not really mean equal, it means assign. The code above, we are assigning the score variable to a value of 0. So we have declared an int variable name here. Let's give the variable a value of 2019. So I'm not sure if I should do this on the same line or different lines, but I assume I can make on the same line. I'm gonna do it without the O now. Let's see. Variable. CPP. Permission denied. So why is it not working now? Maybe it's without the thing. CPP. Yeah, I don't know now. Maybe just variable. That's weird. Okay, I think I'm just gonna run it from here then. I can't run it from here. Oh, it has to be. If I don't give it a name, it has to be a dot out. Forgot about that. Thought that it was just the name of the file. Binding step 1 and step 2. We can both declare and assign a value to a variable in a single initialization statement. Suppose we have these two lines. And score equals 0. And actually combine these two lines. That's all what I did before. This means we are declaring an integer called score and setting it equal to 0. Note, we only need to declare a variable one time, and it is highly suggested to initialize a variable before using it later. So it's suggested to initialize before. A program declare initialize an int variable name here. Initialize it. Yeah. So what I'm thinking about is how different it is. See if I can run through here from here. So maybe I can't run from here. Oh, it's 2019. Oh, so I have to do the comment thing. So one thing I'm thinking about is how do the other languages make it so you don't have to make a function every time you're gonna run something? That you can have variables and stuff outside of this function here. And another thing is why there's int behind the function, which I don't understand really well. It seems that it's different than the other languages because you're assigning a type to a function, which doesn't make much sense to me yet. And also the return statement there, if you only want to assign a variable. So those are a couple of things that are going through my mind right now. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen when we get to object-oriented programming. Arithmetic operators. Computers are incredible at doing calculations. Now that we have declared variables, let's use them with arithmetic operators to calculate things. Here are some arithmetic operators. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, module. Note the order of operations can be specified using parentheses. For example, the use of parentheses. Yeah. In math.cpp, we have already declared an initialize variable called score for you. Let's change its value by giving it the value of 1, 2, 3, 4 multiplied by 99. Now I have to run this plus math cpp. So what's wrong here? But how we know what the value is? You can output the value by simply adding the code underneath. So stands counts. And I have to put this stuff here. Yeah, I can already see why people say that C++ is a little bit more annoying than the other coding languages. Oh, I think they want me to do it on the other line. That's what I'm doing wrong. So first you initialize, then you make this. I'm not sure if the one thing is the same as true. 1 comma are the simple here. Not sure. Don't remember how to say it correctly. Compile and execute your program using the terminal. Notice how when we want to output a variable, we don't add double quotes around its name. Okay. So I'm not sure why I'm not passing the third lesson. Oh, no, it works. Chaining, now that we have outputted a variable and now also outputted things using multiple counts, let's take a closer look at count again. If we have the code below, int age 28, standard count, hello I am, age years old, it will output hello I'm 28 years old. Notice how we use quotes around the characters in hello / I am, but not in age. Hello, yeah, because it's a string. We use quotes when we want a literal string. We don't use quotes when we refer to the value of something with a name like a variable. So now, is it possible to write the count statements within a single line? Yep, you can use multiple this operator to change the things you want to output. For the same code above, you can also do Okay, so each new thing, instead of using the plus sign, is using this thing greater greater than operator. This is called chaining. Inside game.cpp, we have declared and initialized an int variable called score. Now output the following using chaining. Player score. So oh, maybe I have to write here. Stands, counts, player score, this score, this. I think that's it. I forgot this stuff here. I wonder if I have to do the new line thing. Yeah, I'm not sure. No, I think it's like this. Oh, I did the sign the other way. So it's like this, not the other. So now you output the exact phrases in chaining. Take a look at the hint if needed. So what am I missing here? Send code seems correct. Player score also seems correct. Oh, maybe space is needed here. No, that's not it. Oh, maybe I need to put this thing. Huh. So maybe I need to put these two things inside of the string, literal, and then put the score inside. But that seems like too much work for the thing. It doesn't seem like it's correct. Yeah. Player score. So what am I forgetting here? Let's look at the hints they give. Notice how the text have double quotes around it, while score, the variable doesn't. So it's a simple way, but you also have to put new line on the end. That's the problem. Compile and execute using the terminal. I should do all of them from the terminal directly. User input. Like we mentioned in the introduction, another way to assign a value to a variable is through user input. A lot of times we want the user of the program to enter information for the program. We have cout for output, and there is something called sing that's used for input. The user of the program enter information. The name sing refers to the standard input string, pronounced C in, for character input. The second operand of this thing operator, get from specifies where the input goes. where that input goes. So when you have seen, you change the direction of the arrows there. Oh, so I think I get it now. This arrow signs are indicating what's being assigned to what. What's the flow, I think, of the thing. So in this case, enter password is going to here, and in this case, it's going. This command is going to password. The second operand of the thing operator graph specifies where the input goes. So it works. We have to try it with a program. Add the following code. So we'll try that here. So that the user of the program can enter something with their keyboard. What they enter gets saved in the int variable named tip. So now I think they want me to run. Out. And this is like an input, but it's not working for some reason. Or maybe I need to type differently. Let's output the following using chaining. You pay tip dollars, where the tip should be the value of the variable tip. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to keep this in or use some other line. You paid tip dollars. New line. Let's run again. And now that's the thing that I'm not sure. Yeah, it doesn't work. Let's output the following using chaining, where tip should be the value of the variable tip. Run like this and see if it works. Oh, so I need to use this command instead, I think. But I'm not sure now if all the arrows should be like this. Maybe only the first one. And then I should probably erase this as well. Let's see if this works. Function int may error count was not declared in the scope. I forgot this as well. Let's try again. Standard count. Yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong. Maybe it's the arrows that need to be all the same way. I'm not sure what they want me to do. standard. Yeah. Let's output the following using chaining. Make the tip, where the tip should be the value of the variable tip. Make sure to add a new line to the end of the output. So I think maybe what they want me to do is put count here and do this instead. This such, yeah. And I forgot this. Maybe now it's correct, but then it's not gonna run because it's not gonna take any input. But it worked now, but it's still giving me a mistake here, which is weird. It's very strange. I think if I did a new terminal, it would work, but yeah. Challenge temperature, part 1. Now that we've learned about the basics of variables and scene, let's write a program. The mad scientist Kelvin has mastered predicting the weather in his mountainside meteorology lab. Recently, Kelvin began publishing his weather forecasts on his website. However, there is a problem. All of his forecasts describe the temperature in Fahrenheit degrees. Let's convert a temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Formula is the following. First, Google the current temperature of New York in Fahrenheit. Declare a double variable named temp v, tempf, and initialize it with the temperature. Declare another double variable named tempc. Yes, mine is showing Celsius because, okay, Fahrenheit 38. 38. So I have to make int tempc was 38. First, Google the current temperature of New York in Fahrenheit. Declare a double variable named tempf. Initialize it with the temperature. Declare another double variable named tempc. I forgot this. Did you do double tempf? Oh, they didn't talk about double variables. Maybe it's just like this, yeah. So I think double, I'm not sure what double stands for, or if just, yeah, I'm not really sure. They didn't talk about it. Calculate the temperature to Celsius, store it in tempc. So now comes the complicated part. So int tempc equals to double tempf minus 32 divided by 1.8. I think that's it. to calculate for temp C. Maybe I need to put just temp path here. It worked. Display the result, outputs exactly this. Standard count. I think it's like this. The temp is temp C degrees Celsius. Run, compile and execute. Temperature, CPP. Sure, not CPP. Sure, more data types in declaration. Temp path equals 38. Declaration of int temp C. Note int temp C previously declared. So apparently you can declare the same variable twice to override the value, like you can in other languages. Let's see if it works now. Temperature. It's still giving me a mistake. I don't understand what's going on. Temperature.cpp alternative temp C was not declared in this scope. So maybe I have to use double. The thing is, they didn't talk about this double variable thing. So I don't know what it means. Oh, they want me to declare double variable name tip. Yeah. Now I understand, I think. And initialize it with the temperature. So 38. So why did I pass the other test? It's weird. Named. No, but that doesn't make sense. Declare a double variable named temp f and initialize it with the temperature. Let's see. Yeah, it was exactly what I was doing. Oh, so it's not int, it's double. And it has to be a float, apparently. Yeah, because this is a float, so might have to be like this. Then double temp C. Let's see now if it works. It's still not working. Double temp F, double temp C. So you declare a floating point variable named temp F, initialize it, value as 33. So maybe they want me to initialize it here. and then make the TPC again. So yeah, just MPC. So maybe after you declare a variable, you don't need to type the int stuff anymore. You can just type the name of the variable. Use parentheses to specify the order. And here they are not using float. And not using double, because double is the declaration. I think now it's probably correct. It's still wrong. Hmm. So what did I do now? Let's grab. Int temp C previously declare. So I think it's just a terminal problem. Let me try in the new terminal. Oh, it's still giving me the same thing. Temp path was not declared in this scope. It's exactly like it's written there. What's wrong with this? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what's wrong with this. Seems like I did exactly what they're writing here, unless I'm missing something that I'm not seeing. Temp C, degrees Celsius. Temp C equals temp F minus 32 divided by 1.8. Double temp C. Double temp F. Maybe just the value. It doesn't make sense to be the value, but let me try now. Now, apparently it is working. So I guess what the problem was just, and I need a space here that I didn't put, but whatever, it passed. There's something weird happening on the terminal when I initialize it, when I run it, and then the file is wrong the first time. I don't know how that works, but I think I'll be right back. Watch the bathroom. challenge temperature. Let's go back to the temperature.cpp that we wrote. This time, instead of giving temp value of the current temperature in New York, let's ask the user what the temperature is using sing. So sing dot enter the temperature. Using stand. Oh, I forgot this. Stand count and get their input using stand sin. And start it in TPF. So maybe this is stand count. I'm not sure now. What I should do. Maybe just sing. And here I did the wrong side. Temp path. Maybe that's it. Counts in. Yeah, start in temp path. Ask the user to input an answer using sensing. Also the things, no. The direction of the arrow is correct. Maybe it's the Fahrenheit stuff that I throw. No. So it should be correct. If there are no free resources out there besides this website, then I'm not sure what I'm gonna do to learn this stuff on stream. I'll figure it out probably. I'll have to think about it. So I don't understand what's wrong here. Oh, I forgot to put this stuff. Maybe there is new line here as well. I'm not sure. Let me try without the real new line. Yeah, passes. Compile and execute your program using the terminal. So I don't have the habit of putting the thing there. Putting this symbol here at the end. Nice, it works. The second part is not working, but it passes the test. Review, you made it to the end of the lesson. High five. Here's a review of the lesson. A variable represents a particular type, a particular piece of your computer's memory that has been set aside for you to use to store, retrieve, and manipulate data. C++ basic data types include int, integers, double, floating point, numbers. So double is a float. Nice to know. Char, individual characters, string, sequence of characters. Both true or false. Single equal sign indicates assignment, not equality in the mathematical sense. Sin is how to receive input from the user. Optional Use the open space in review.cpp to practice what you learn about variables. Here are some ideas. Create a program that takes in the weight of an item and then calculates how much that item would weigh on Mars. Create a program that asks for a distance in miles as input. The program will then output how much the distance is in kilometers. Also, just run the code as is to move on. So let's think about this. It will be double, takes the weight. Then I would have standard counts. Enter the weight. Put new line here. Then standard thing. Weight. Store the weight on the weight. Takes in the weight of an item and then calculates how much that item would weigh on Mars. So then I should take the gravity of Mars. Weight equals mass times acceleration times weight equals mass times gravity. So the mass would be constant and it would be the division by gravity. It is weaker than Earth's gravity due to the planet's smaller mass. The average gravitational acceleration on Mars is 3.7. On Earth is 9.8, I think. So 3.72. Mass times 9.8. So it will be weight divided by 3.72. Mars G. Double Mars G. Oh, or maybe I can just do the number directly. So double Mars weight and Mars weight equals weight divided by 3. Oh, it's actually multiplied, right? Because this acceleration is lower. So weight 9.8. Damn. Why am I having trouble with this? I think it's multiplied by 3.72. No, it's 9.8 divided by 3.72. And then multiplied. Because the weight will be the mass divided by 9.8. Then you'd put that. No, weight is equal to mass times 9.8. And then on Mars would be 9.8 divided by 3.72. I think it's multiplied by the division, probably. I don't know. I just want to think about it, to be honest. Too lazy to spend time thinking about it. But yeah, whatever. Let's run the file, see what happens. Weight was not declared in this scope. Maybe the arrows are the other way around. No, I think the arrows are correct. Double weight is correct. Oh, I forgot the thing. Maybe that's the problem. Count's not a member of stand. Oh, I was confused with count. I'm not sure how people say it. Maybe I'll look for a video about it. So maybe I have to close this again. No, it's giving me the same mistake. Count. I'm not sure what's going on with this. It always works like this, or if it's just from the site, the terminal. It's giving me the same mistake. Oh, and I forgot. I forgot in all of them. The thing. Let's try again. Why is this thing? I give up. I don't know what's wrong with this. There's some problem on this terminal, but it's weird. I think the code is correct now, at least. So initialize the weight, ask for the input, store the input on the weight variable, create the Mars weight, and then make it equal to the weight times the proportion. But I think it's the other way around actually, because if the gravity is weaker, it should be lighter. Now that I think about it. Yeah, whatever. Let's see, count C++.
Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be talking a bit more about how we can use cout to print things in the C++ programming language. Cout stands for character out. We are outputting characters to our console. So, let's just begin by printing something simple. Let's just say that we want to print have a good day. To do this, we begin by telling our C++ compiler that we want to print something, so we enter cout. Then we use two insertion operators to tell C++ what information we want printed. We will talk more about the insertion operators in a future video, so do not worry too much about them right now.
Another thing that I'm thinking about it, well, they have TensorFlow for C++. That I'm pretty sure. But they probably don't have all the other libraries, like Pandas and NumPy. So I'll have to think about that when I start to create the library, artificial intelligence library.
Then we need to enter the string that we want printed to our output console. And we said that we wanted to print have a good day, so let's just enter that. And although not necessary in this particular example, it is a good habit to end our line using endl. This tells C++ that we are finished with our particular line. Then, when we build and run this program, you can see that we are printed out the line that we wanted. I should also mention that instead of endl, you could add in a line break using \n like so. And you can see that the same result is achieved. These two methods have their own benefits. For example, the new line character \n can be used to break up two lines in the same string, like so. Whereas the endl manipulator flushes the buffer, but that is a topic for a much further video. For now, really either method will work. However, I typically use endl, so that is what you'll see more often throughout this course. Now, what if we wanted to print out a variable? Well, let's declare a string variable called anything we want. I'll just call it greeting here. Let's also initialize this variable, which means to give our variable a value. Let's just say the same thing here, have a good day, and make sure that it is between two quotation marks, as this tells C++ that we are working with a string data type. Now, we can just replace the previous string with our new variable, and that is all we need to do to print out variables in C++. Just character out your variable, and then an end-of-line statement. As you can see here, when we build and run the program, we receive the exact same output as before, which is what we expected. Lastly, what if we wanted to combine, let's say, printing a variable and entering in an explicit string? So let's do this by asking our user for their name and their age. As we learned in our last video, it is best to have a cout line before our cin, which stands for character in, to formally tell the user what type of information that we want. So, because we want the user's name and age, let's declare the name variable as a string and the age variable as an integer. Again, as we learned in the last video, to accept user input in C++, we type cin and then two greater than signs. So, these are opposite way to what we have been using in our cout statements. Then we enter the variable that we want our user to give us a value for. And there we go, we just declared a variable and then we let our user initialize it. Let's just repeat this process for the age variable now. Now, once we run our program, the user will initialize both these variables. So all we have left to do is print out the results, giving these variables and our statements back to the user. So to do this, we can just combine the information we previously learned. We type cout, then two greater than signs, and then our first string, which will say your name is, and then two more greater than signs. Then we insert our variable that our user initialized, which is our name variable, and then we continue this for the user's age as well. Now, in C++.
So that makes a lot of sense. It stands for character out. So far, I think it's pretty much the same thing like the other languages, but a little bit more annoying to remember and to type. I'm just gonna move on because this thing is broken. Introduction to conditionals and logic. Every program we've seen so far has only had one possible path of execution. They all execute line by line, from top to bottom. And every time you run one of these programs, it gives you the same exact result. But it's 21st century and like options. In this lesson, we will explore how programs make decisions by evaluating conditions and introduce logic into our code. We will be covering following concepts: if, else if, and else statements, switch statements, relational operators, logical operators. So if you've already learned these concepts in a language, go to the next lesson. Else, prepare yourself, and let's get started. So I assume it's gonna be pretty much the same. Here we have a coin flip, it's coin toss. 50% of the time it's heads, 50% of the time it's tails. Run the program 5 times and to see an if else statement in action. How many times did it go heads? So it's pretty much like the other languages. If, then a condition, else. Except for this thing here. Remember that's 0 or 1. S rand assumes creating random time. If number 0 heads, if it is not 0 tails. Yeah, so they don't explain the srand stuff. An if statement is used to test a condition. If the condition is true, then the statement within are executed, otherwise it's skipped. The if keyword is followed by a set of parentheses. Okay, inside grade CPP, write an if statement where if grade bigger than 60. Output pass. So now I think, yeah, should be, I'm not sure if it's return. No, it shouldn't be return. Counts plus. Oh, I always forget this thing. And it's here as well. Nice. I gotta remember. I never write this because it's just more annoying to write it. This operator, this sign here. Point, comma. I'm not sure how you say this. When writing conditional statements, sometimes we need to use different types of operators to compare values. These operators are called relational operators. To have a condition, we need relational operators. Equal to, not equal to, greater, less, greater than or equal to. Okay. Conditional operators compare the values, so pretty much the same thing, the other languages. Change the condition grade 60 to grade less than 60. What do you think will happen? It's not gonna pass. To different than 60. J is gonna pass. Else clause. We can also add, okay, else is just the same as the other languages. Add an else statement that outputs fail. So just a little bit more annoying to write on C++, but nothing too difficult yet. Else if, so yeah, same thing. Else if. Just so you wanna stack conditions, use else if. In chemistry, pH is a scale used to specify the acidity or basicity of an aqueous solution. Write an if else statement that if pH is greater than 7, outputs counts basic, else if pH less than 7, output acidic, else neutral. Merge, take a look at the hint for stack. Next. Switch statements, I assume it's gonna be the same as Python. A switch statement provides an alternative syntax that is easier to read and write. However, you're going to find these less frequently than if, else in the wild. Switch statement looks like this. I wonder why switch statement is not used very often. If it's just a matter of people are more used to writing else if and if statements than switch, or is because it's actually worse in practice from an operational point of view. So you have all these conditions that you put inside the switch statement that works like if else if statements. And the default is if they are all wrong, if I'm not mistaken. Switch keyword initiates the statement that is followed by parentheses, which contains the value that each case will compare. The example, the value or expression of the switch statement is grade. One restriction in this expression is that it must evaluate an integral type. Int char short long, or enum. Inside the block, there are multiple cases. The case keyword checks if the expression matches the specified value that comes after it. If value following the first case is 9, the first grade is if the value of grade is equal to 9, then the code that follows the 2 points would run. The break keyword tells the computer to exit the block and not execute any more code or check any other cases. At the end of the switch statement, there's the default statement. If none of these cases are true, then the code is in the default statement will run. It's essentially the else part. In the code above, suppose grade is equal to 10, then the output would be sophomore. Note, without the break keyword at the end of each case, the program will execute the code for the first matching case and all subsequent cases, including the default code. This behavior is different from if-else conditional statements, which execute only one block of code. So maybe that's why the switch is not used as often. So if-else stops if a condition is true and passes the others, and switch runs all of them unless you have break. Inside Pokédex.cpp, you have a switch statement. Let's add 3 more cases right before default. So I'm just gonna copy so I don't have to write everything. For some reason, this is not copying exactly how it's written there. If I just do like this, case 7, case 8, case 9. Squirtle. War turtle. Slice. Next. Let's listen here are some of the major concepts. An if statement checks a condition and will execute a task if the condition values to true. If else statements make binary decisions that execute different code blocks based on a provided condition. Add more conditions using else if statements. Relational operators, including these ones, can compare true values. A switch statement can be used to simplify the process of writing multiple else if statements. The break keyword stops the remaining cases from being checked and executed in a switch statement. Little Mac is an interplanetary space boxer who is trying to win championships belt for various weight categories on other planets within the solar system. Write a space.cpp program that helps him keep track of his target weight by. Should ask him what his Earth weight is, ask him to enter a number for the planet he wants to fight on. Should then compute his weight on the destination planet. Here's the table of conversion. So it should be multiplied, one divided by the other, and multiplied. Should ask him. So first thing, should ask him what his Earth weight is. So double Earth weight standard dots count. What is your Earth weight? New line. Character in. Or wait. Asking him to enter a number of the planet he wants to fight on. So enter the number. Then what I'm gonna store this. I wonder if I can declare the variable on the standard character in a statement. Seem to enter a number at the planet he wants to fight on. Should then compute his weight on the destination planet. So I'm gonna put this double number. I'm not sure if I can declare it on the same, but if I can't, then it's probably bad practice to declare on the same thing. And I don't even think it would work. I'm gonna leave it there just to test it. So should then compute his weight on the destination planet. Now I should do the switch statement and then a bunch of breaks or if else statements. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do this. Let me run this to see if this breaks down. So apparently it works to declare it like this. Then what I'm supposed to do here is to put you do the math. Final weight. It's gonna be equal to Earth weight times 0.38. Oh, I forgot this thing here. And then I should do this condition to all of them, depending on the number in the table. But I don't feel like doing that. And I think although this is possible, it's probably not the best. It's probably better to declare it before and uh, then make the input store the value. Conditions and logic. Introduction to logical operators. Often when we're trying to create a control flow for our program, we encounter situations where the logic cannot be satisfied with a single condition. Logical operators are used to combine two or more conditions. They allow programs to make more flexible decisions. The result of the operation of a logical operator is a bool value of either true or false. There are three logical operators that we'll cover. And the OR operator, so it's like Python. No, it's not like Python, it's like JavaScript. We'll also discuss the order of operations. Let's get started. So that's C++ documentation. All right. Trying to think about what I'm gonna do if when I finish these lessons, or if the lessons, if I have to pay for to finish. I think I'm gonna watch some videos on the playlist, and then I'm gonna have to learn the IDE Visual Studio. But I have a bunch of other stuff to do, so I'm not sure. I might do that on stream. And I think after I learn the object orientation part, then I'm gonna be ready. Yeah, the objects and classes, I'm not sure if it's gonna be the same thing. Probably not. There are probably a lot of differences. So far, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a couple of minor differences. But I suspect that on the object and class parts are gonna be very different because of the way it's storing stuff in memory. Otherwise, there would be no point in having two languages. And I think that's the stuff that I'm really gonna need to build the library to really understand that. And maybe the best approach is to start already right away. Start trying to do stuff and then researching along the way instead of first finishing the stuff. If it's not possible to finish, then I'm gonna watch the tutorials, and I'm gonna stop I'm gonna stop when I have learned how to do classes and objects and that kind of stuff. And then I'm gonna start working on the AI stuff. Maybe read the documentation on TensorFlow or research videos about TensorFlow to see where the library of C++ is, and to understand how the lower level API, I'll choose the lower level API to build the functions on my own. The end logical operator is denoted by end, and this symbol there, it returns true if the condition on the left and the condition on the right are true, otherwise it returns false. For instance, returns true, keyword, by the following if statement, if Hungry is true, I'm not sure if I should use the a double equal sign, or using one sign is the better way. Fine. Should put here as well. So it works. Oh, I can't use the terminal now. I wanted to practice activating the file, running the file from the terminal. Now the OR operator, write the following if statements. If day is equal to 6, or day equals to 7, we can't. Yeah, no terminal here as well. So maybe I have to use the double one. Well, let's see if this works. Yeah, so the double sign is needed to get the equality, because the one sign is only assigning the variable to the value. The not logical operator is denoted by this reverse the bool statement. Write the following if statement. The user isn't logged in. Logged in, then print. Try again. So there's a typo here. Next. This mini lesson we've added more operators to our toolbox. Optional, let's try a challenging problem that will put all your brain cells to the test. Write a leap year.cpp program that takes a year as input, checks to see if the year is a 4-digit number, displays whether or not the year falls on a leap year. There are 3 criteria that must be taken into account. To identify a leap year, if the year can be evenly divided by 4, then it is a leap year. However, if the year can be evenly divided by 100 and is not evenly divided by 400, then it is not a leap year. If the year is evenly divisible by 400, then it is a leap year. Take some time to research and brainstorm before starting to write the code. It's pretty much gonna be a bunch of if conditions, doing these calculations using the remainder of operator to check if they're true or not. I don't think I'm gonna do this, to be honest. Just seems like a waste of time. Yeah, I think I'm gonna skip this one. Because I'm more focused on the coding aspect instead of the logic necessarily. I think the logic there is not that hard. It's just probably annoying to figure out. Fire learning project. Codecademy Pro can practice what you learn with free-form projects, quizzes, and more. Introduction to loops. A loop is a programming tool that repeats some code or a set of instructions until a specified condition is reached. As a programmer, you'll find that you rely on loops all the time. Here, the generic term iterate when referring to loops. Iterate simply means to repeat. When we see that a process has to repeat multiple times in a row, we write a loop. Loops allow us to create efficient code that automates processes to make scalable, manageable programs. This lesson we will learn about 2 types of loops, while loops and for loops. While loop, so first, the while loop. Before we dive deep into the syntax on the while loop, let's do a demo. Inside the entropy CPP, we have a program that asks and checks it for a password. It uses a while loop to ask the user for the password over and over again. So this one. So while these conditions are true, it's gonna run this. You don't need to understand the code right now. Compile and exclude using the terminal. When the program asks you to enter your PIN, try the following. So G++, enter ping.cpp, then out. Now it's 111, 2019, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it keeps checking, keeps prompting. Yeah, until tries is less than 3, and pin is different than 1, 2, 3, 4, because the pin is 1, 2, 3, 4. If pin 1, 2, 3, 4 been accepted, you have no access. Okay. Guess number. So now that we got a demo of loops, let's write one. The while loop looks very similar to an if statement, and just like an if statement, it executes the code inside of it if the condition is true. However, the difference is that the while loop will continue to execute the code inside of it over and over again as long as the condition is true. Here's what a while loop looks like. In other words, instead of executing if something is true, it executes while the thing is true. In this example, while guess is not equal to 8, the program will keep on asking the user to input a new number. It will exit the while loop once the user types in 8, and then the program will continue. So here, I'll guess different than 8. Inside guess.cpp, we have a program that asks the user to guess a number between 1 and 10, and the answer is 8. Now, instead of just asking for the user to answer it once, let's add a while loop so that they answer it up to 50 times. So tries is just like the I variable on JavaScript loops, where you use it to make to determine how many times you want the loop to run. Guess, and then tries, and each time it increases by 1 with the plus plus. The plus plus also has for loops like you're describing from JS. Yeah, I imagine they're gonna talk about it in this next lesson, I believe. Did you add the while loop? Oh, it's while. Maybe the while loop comes before this. Oh yeah, I think I did this the wrong way. And this is the previous lesson. What's going on? Let me reset, see what happens. Yeah, there we go. So I think I need to write it outside of the if statement. And then once the if statement is reached, once they type 8, it's gonna run the if statement. Okay, let's try again. Then tries plus plus. I think this is it. Yeah, there we go. while loop. The last one we held your hand, so let's try one on your own. As an example of iteration, we have the first program ever to run on a Star program computer, the IDSAC. It was written and run by David Wheeler, the computer laboratory at Cambridge University, England, on May 6, 1948. Calculate and print a simple list of squares like the following. On the left, there are numbers from 0 to 9. On the right, are their squares. For example, for the number 9 is 81. Square.cpp, write this using a while loop in C++. So let me think about this. So I'm gonna have a condition that is gonna be true forever. Notice the run button spinning continuous or lost connection to a Codecademy message in this exercise may have an infinite loop. The stop condition for our loop is never met. We will create an infinite loop, which stops our program from running anything else. To exit out of an infinite loop, and then exercise refresh the page, then fix the code for your loop. So I think I'm gonna put condition to I equals 10. Then I need to print. So how am I gonna do this? So square is gonna be equal to I plus I think square. I plus I. Then I'm gonna do standard cout. The loop only runs while the condition is true, not while it's false. Yeah. So do you mean that it's gonna run more than 10 times if I put it like this? Oh yeah, because this is not gonna be true, right? Yeah. So I need to put like this. Now this is gonna work though. Maybe this is gonna work, not sure. Different operator. Oh yeah, I can use here, right? Yeah. Yeah. Less than or different than 10 should work. Then I just make I plus plus. I, and then I wonder if I can put the like this, and I have to put new line here. To print the variables. And I forgot this stuff here and this stuff here. Oh, and I forgot a space as well between them. But apparently it passes the test. Yeah, you want a space. Is there an easier way to do a space than to put it like this? For loop demo, I think this is the last one I'm gonna do. There's already 2 hours. Then I'm gonna be off. And I remember your nickname as Steve. You helped me a lot when I was learning, still in the beginning, learning JavaScript. It's been a long time. Feels like a long time. For loop demo. Iterating over a sequence of numbers is so common that C++, like most other programming languages, has a special syntax for it. When we know exactly how many times we want to iterate or when we are counting, we can use a for loop instead of a while loop. So it's pretty much like JavaScript. Let's take a closer look at the first line. There are three separate parts to this, separated by this symbol. The initialization of a counter, int I equals 0, the continue condition, the change if in the counter, in this case an increment. So here we are creating a variable I that starts from 0. We repeat the code inside over and over again when I is less than 20. At the end, the for loop, we are adding 1 to I using the ++ operator. Which is exactly like JavaScript. Run the code to see the for loop in action. So just running the code, this one. I think I'm gonna stop here. Probably tomorrow or some other time. I'll be back and continue learning this. And then if I reach I'm not sure if there's a way to see how many lessons I have for free or if the whole course is for free. Maybe if I click here. Yeah, I'll figure it out. And then if I can't do these lessons, then I'm gonna start the artificial intelligence stuff right away and see what happens. So see ya.